Hi everybody, this is Megan Garza with Megan Garza Wellness. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, health coach, and yoga instructor, and you're listening to the Restoring Balance podcast. More women than ever are now dealing with digestive, hormonal, and skin issues and are not finding satisfactory answers or results. On this show, I teach you how to implement holistic lifestyle, dietary, and mindset strategies to help you get smooth digestion and balanced hormones to reclaim your health, feel confident about your decisions, and to finally live life on your terms. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So this is episode 21, and the title of today's episode is Supporting Your Detoxification Pathways. Before we get into today's episode, if you're a fan of the show, this is just a reminder of how you can support the podcast by giving it a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify podcast, which helps the algorithm get my show to other listeners who would benefit from it just like you. So without further ado, let's dive in. The main topics that I'm going to be covering today is the physiology of detoxification, some signs that your body is potentially not detoxing properly, also the liver's role in detoxification because it does play a huge role in the whole process, the 3 phases of detoxification, what the elimination pathways are, what they do, and why they're important, and lastly, how to support detoxification. So first and foremost, what is detoxing? What is detoxification? There is so much hype around detoxing, and there's so many buzzwords and things that we are being told about detoxification, some things that are true, some things that are not. So I'm really going to just dig into all of that to kind of sift through some of the myths and also bring to light what the truths are. So detoxification can be described as your body's way of effectively and efficiently eliminating toxins and other waste products through various elimination pathways carried out by your organs and certain bodily systems. So there are some people that believe that you need to drink nothing but water and green juices and take a bunch of supplements in order for your body to detox. And then on the flip side of that, there's other people who think that detoxing isn't even real. And the truth is somewhere in between this. So ideally, the body should be able to detox efficiently on its own. However, unfortunately, when it's under heavy toxic load, detoxification will slow down or it'll start to run inefficiently. And many of us are under heavy load because our environment is so polluted because we live in post-World War II era where over 100,000 chemicals have been introduced into our world without any major testing on the safety of these things. So it's really about just kind of managing what we are being exposed to, minimizing it, and then also optimizing our body's way of detox. And before I even get into more about detox, I do want to note that this is very complex and it should be approached with extreme caution. So do not dive into this stuff head first without working with a practitioner or at the very least doing extensive research. And even then, going very slow and being very careful. Because there really is a lot that can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. And supporting the detoxification pathways is something that I help my clients with. So if you're wanting to support your body this way and you don't know where to start, book a complimentary nutrition consultation with me because this is going to help you take some of the guesswork out of where you're supposed to support detoxification, what you're supposed to do, how all this is going to look, and also it's going to help you maximize your results. I'll put the link to book a complimentary nutrition consultation with me in the show notes. So with that being said, some of the signs that you are not detoxing properly could be like you are experiencing PMS. So things like breast tenderness or mood swings, even headaches and fatigue. Also, digestive issues are a huge sign that you are not detoxing properly. So things like constipation, diarrhea, bloating, and even heartburn. Also, if you're experiencing brain fog or even acne or other skin issues like psoriasis or eczema, and lastly, weakened immunity. So all of these can encompass that your body is not detoxing properly and it needs support. And the main organ that helps with detoxification is the liver. So there's a huge misconception that I've heard over and over is that the liver stores toxins, and that is just not true. So the liver acts as a storage for nutrients, and it's going to decide what substances to keep and what substances to remove. So for the liver to do its job effectively, it's going to require certain nutrients like amino acids and vitamins and minerals. So with detoxification, you have phase 1 and phase 2 and the lesser known phase 3. So phase 3 is kind of an unofficial phase of detoxification, but for the sake of this whole conversation, I'm just going to refer to it as phase 1, 2, and 3. So starting at phase 1, so this is the phase when toxins are not able to be used by the body. So an oxygen group is then going to be added to the toxins so that way it can be broken down. The liver is responsible for breaking down fat-soluble toxins into smaller water-soluble toxins. So these toxins are usually gathered after digesting fat, so from the GI tract. And I'm not saying that eating fat is a bad thing, because if you've listened to my podcast or if you have seen any of my emails on my email list, you'll know how much I preach about how good fat is for your body. So it's necessary to eat fat, but there are toxins in things that we consume, in the water we drink, in the food we eat, in the products we use, in the air we breathe. So there really is stuff all around us, and it's just about enhancing our body's ability to detox and to minimize what we are being exposed to. So phase 1 relies heavily on cytochrome P450 enzyme. So if you look up anything about phase 1 detoxification, you will see this enzyme, cytochrome P450 enzyme, pop up a lot because it is very important in phase 1. So these toxins are then modified through oxidation and hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is breaking a chemical bond through the reaction of water, and oxidation is the loss of electrons by a molecule in a chemical reaction. So I'm sure you've heard of oxidation, or antioxidants is the opposite of oxidation. So oxidation is essentially just damage. And the most important thing about phase 1 is that it is prepping the chemicals and toxins for phase 2. So after this, the molecules and toxins that are being broken down are actually becoming more dangerous. And this is because it's creating free radicals. And this is exactly why all 3 phases must be working efficiently. Because if you are not sending these toxins efficiently to phase 2, they could potentially be reabsorbed into the body and cause a significant amount of damage. So the main ideas of phase 1 is that phase 1 is going to convert toxins into more harmful substances, and it's modifying these molecules to water-soluble substances to be processed in phase 2. And now moving on to phase 2. Phase 2 uses conjugation reactions, or think of joining. So this is because the liver is attaching another molecule to render it less harmful. So there are 6 detoxification pathways involved in this process, and that includes sulfation, amino acid conjugation, acetylation, methylation, glucuronidation, and glutathione conjugation. So I know that's a mouthful, and I'm not expecting anyone to remember all of this stuff. It is definitely a lot of information, but just stick with it. So sulfation pathway is mainly used to break down estrogen and the thyroid hormones like T3 and T4, and also BPA, the chemical that is commonly found in plastic. Acetylation is used to break down cigarette smoke and caffeine. Methylation is used for histamine clearing. Glucuronidation is where most of our prescription drugs and just drugs in general are detoxed from in this pathway. And then glutathione conjugation helps with heavy metal, mold, and pesticide removal. So the main idea here is that phase 2 detoxification is all about conjugation and elimination, remembering that conjugation is joining. So the liver attaches another molecule to these substances to make them less harmful. And then moving on to the unofficial phase 3 detoxification. This is very short and to the point. It's all about transportation and elimination. The kidneys are going to urinate the toxins out, or they're going to be transported during phase 2 through the bile to be excreted through the stool. So that's kind of the summary of how phase 1, 2, and 3 detoxification works. This is a very oversimplified version of how it works. There are tons of books and research studies on how detoxification actually happens in the body. So if you want a more in-depth look at how all of this stuff works, I will link some books and research studies in the show notes for you to check out. And then I'm going to switch gears here a little bit to talk about other ways that our bodies detox. So there are other organs that are associated with detox, and that is the skin, the lungs, the lymph, kidneys, liver, and the colon. So the skin expels toxins and it helps with detoxification by expelling toxins through sebum production. Also with sweating, this helps eliminate heavy metals and specific chemicals. As far as the lung goes, the lungs remove airborne toxins because the cilia in the respiratory tract help trap and expel foreign particles and irritants. And then we have the lymph. So the lymph is a network of vessels and organs and nodes that help transport lymph through the body. So lymph is a fluid that contains immune cells and waste products. And the purpose of the lymphatic system is to remove cellular waste and toxins so that way the body's immune system can be supported. Also, the kidneys help filter blood and it removes waste products, so they are very sensitive to various different substances that we are being exposed to. So very, very important to keep those kidneys healthy. Then we have the liver. We already talked about this with phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. So real quickly, phase 1 detoxification converts fat-soluble toxins into water-soluble compounds. And this process requires enzymes to break down those toxins. Phase 2 is the pairing of these toxins to excrete with another molecule to make it less harmful. And the overall theme of this is conjugation and elimination. And lastly, the colon. So the colon's main job here is to absorb water and electrolytes while simultaneously removing waste from the digestive tract. So what are some things that are going to help these pathways? So for the kidneys, definitely be drinking more water. Typically, it's about half of your body weight in ounces, but making sure that you are getting electrolytes and minerals in the water that you're drinking. Otherwise, you're just going to be urinating out electrolytes, and that can lead to a ton of issues with your heart and just with electrolyte imbalances, which is not something that you want to experience. Also, bitter herbs are very therapeutic and helpful to the kidneys as well. So things like dandelion root have been particularly helpful to strengthen the kidneys. And then next we have lymph. So things like massage therapy and dry brushing can help stimulate lymphatic circulation and also enhance the detoxification process. Also rebounding, like rebound therapy, like jumping on a trampoline or even exercise is an excellent way to move lymph because the lymphatic system can only be moved manually. So this includes things like dry brushing and movement because it does not have its own pumping system. You have to do that yourself. Also for skin, so sweating, as I mentioned earlier, is extremely therapeutic to your body because this is going to expel those toxins. So you can use a sauna or hot yoga or even just regular exercise, and getting really sweaty can really help aid with toxin removal. And as far as the lungs go, deep breathing is therapeutic to removing toxins and to helping your lungs clear stuff that is stuck. Also, indoor air quality, it plays a huge factor in how much you are being inundated with toxins. So an indoor air filter is going to be ideal for this. And also just using clean house products, which I will talk more about in just a moment. And then we have the colon. So fiber is going to promote a healthy microbiome and also regular bowel movements, which is going to help efficiently remove toxins. So if you're constipated, you are going to be reabsorbing those toxins, which is why it's very important to get that in check and to take care of any constipation that you are dealing with. Because if you are reabsorbing those toxins, you are not going to have your detoxification organs working efficiently because your liver and your lungs and your skin and your lymph and kidneys can really only do so much if all of that waste and toxins are just sitting in your colon. And then as far as supporting the liver, things like coffee enemas, castor oil, bitter herbs, and also just supporting with food is going to make a huge difference in how your liver is actually functioning. So how do you truly improve detoxification? Because detoxification processes are dependent on nutrient status and nutrient stores. So ultimately, you're going to want to be consuming a nutrient-dense diet. So this contains a variety of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, antioxidants, and other nutrients because these are required for the detoxification to take place efficiently. And if you're not meeting these dietary requirements, your body is not going to be able to carry out these processes properly. And just a note on this is that adequate protein intake is imperative for supporting detoxification because amino acids are required for the conjugation pathways to function properly. And this is something that is so overlooked in the holistic community. And I feel like more people are starting to realize this and get on board, which is fantastic. But ultimately, you're going to want to eat anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of protein per meal with a carb and a fat in order for you to meet your protein intake. So with that being said, some rules of thumb for meat would be to buy organic grass-fed and finished meats, make sure that they're pasture-raised or wild-caught. And also stop consuming seed oils like canola oil, rapeseed oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, all of these things that are just industrial seed oils. They're very unnatural for our bodies. They lead to more oxidative stress. They cause metabolic damage. And really just opting for healthier fats like coconut oil, grass-fed butter, beef tallow, lard, olive oil, and avocado oil are going to make a huge difference in your ability to detox. And lastly, just stop eating ultra-processed foods. So anything like candies and pastries and sodas and pizzas and fast food, just things that are not healthy for us, and really limiting this to the best of your ability. And now we're going to talk about some specific nutritional support for supporting phase 1 and 2 detoxification. So foods rich in protein, as I talked about just a moment ago, are going to really help with the conjugation because they provide things like glycine and taurine that are required for this process. So opting for foods like gelatin and eggs, legumes, lean meat. Also, beef liver is a very healthy option. I think people are not eating enough organ meats. Definitely try to get beef liver in anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week, depending on your nutrient stores. Also, not foods that are rich in protein, but just foods that are helpful for detoxification and just your body in general would be things like vegetables and fruits. Dairy, citrus fruits are particularly helpful. Same with cruciferous vegetables. And more specifically, pumpkin seeds, seaweed, almonds, collagen protein, and even beets. Beets are very helpful for the liver to help it produce more bile, and the bile is what is going to carry out some of these toxins to be excreted through the stool. And then some sulfur-rich foods that are helpful for phase 2 detoxification would be things like garlic, onion, and eggs. These foods are very high in sulfur and will provide a lot of help for this phase 2 detoxification. And same thing for methylation would be leafy greens because this is going to provide magnesium and folate. And then some non-food things that you can do in order to support detoxification. Hydration is so important for flushing out toxins out of the body. And also drinks like ginger, milk thistle, and even dandelion root and other herbal teas can really help support your hydration status and detoxification. And now on to indoor air quality. So I have an entire podcast episode on this. It's episode 11, environmental toxins, what to do about it and how to avoid them. So I'm going to just briefly go over some of the environmental toxins that most people are exposed to and are not knowing that. But that could include things like household cleaners and conventional health and beauty products, things like air fresheners, and even certain cookwares And most laundry detergents contain a lot of synthetic ingredients that are harmful to the body. Same with dryer sheets and fabric softeners, and even things like flooring and paint and even mattresses. So there really are a lot of things that we are being exposed to unknowingly and without our consent, because there are a lot of toxins in these products, which is why it's really important to know what you are being exposed to and to be able to advocate for better products and pick better products that are healthier for your body, because these products that the conventional ones are going to impair your body's ability to detox because it is just being so overwhelmed. So ultimately, when you are cleaning up your house and the products that you are using, it's going to improve your body's ability to detox, because all of these things that we are being exposed to are going to be minimized. I've also created a guide to low toxin living. So it goes over all of the products that are commonly found in most households. And then also it shows what the healthy alternatives are. So instead of just guessing, it helps you have a visual representation of what products to get rid of in your home and what products to swap them out with. So I will leave that in the show notes for you to download. It's completely free of charge. And it takes the guesswork out of what products you should and should not be using. So go ahead and download your free copy today. And lastly, Epsom salt baths are incredibly healing because it promotes sulfation. There are a lot of people who have used Epsom salt baths to help with specific reactions. I know on the holistic side of animals, when a pet has a bad reaction to some kind of shot or pill or just toxic lifestyle in general, Epsom salt baths are highly recommended as one of the better treatment methods. Is kind of the same thing for humans. If you are dealing with a toxic overload and you need to improve your body's ability to detox, Epsom salt baths can be a really great way to do this. And lastly, we're going to move on to supplementation. So with all of this, as I said earlier, you want to be very cautious in your approach. If you don't know what you're doing, please book a free consultation with me so that way you can be on the right path while also minimizing any potential reactions that you might have. So with that being said, I'm just going to go over some of the supplements. So for phase 3, you can use taurine and fiber to help with that. Also, glutathione and NAC is helpful for glutathione conjugation. Also, B vitamins are very helpful to the liver. So vitamin B6, you can also just eat beef liver for a more whole foods approach to this. Tauroso deoxycholic acid, or TUDCA, is helpful for reducing inflammation and supporting bile flow, which is imperative for eliminating toxins. A really good brand that I like is Cellcore Advanced TUDCA. They are an excellent brand, and there are so many fakes on the market, which is why you have to be very careful about what you're buying. So Cellcore has an excellent line of products. I trust everything that they make because they do all of their formulations properly. And then lastly, we have binders. So binders are exactly what they sound like. They bind to toxins in the digestive tract, and you can take something like activated charcoal or Cellcore biotoxin binder. And again, this is going to be approached holistically. So not just throwing supplements at a problem and thinking that it is going to be fixed, or eating certain foods and thinking that it's going to be fixed, or even cleaning out your household of all of the bad products that you could potentially be using and think that your detoxification pathways are going to all of a sudden magically work better, because that is not how the body works. And a lot of times when we have been in such a state of poor detoxification and toxic overload, it is going to need a lot more than that. Which is why I'm really stressing the importance of being very careful when you are approaching your detoxification pathways. So this is not to scare you or to make you think that this is like the most dangerous thing in the world. However, I'm just trying to bring awareness to let you know that these things are not to be taken lightly. So now to wrap up this episode, the biggest takeaways would be that supporting detoxification requires phase 1 and phase 2 to be functioning properly. Also, there are necessary nutrients that must be provided in order for phase 1 and 2 to work efficiently. And lastly, do not try to force your body to detox. Instead, you need to be providing it with therapeutic nutrients and lifestyle adjustments to optimize its function. And that's pretty much it. That wraps up today's episode. So just remember to take it step by step and to keep learning on your wonderful journey of wellness. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Today we talked about what detoxification truly means, the detoxification pathways and organs, and the lifestyle and nutrition changes to support detoxification. You can expect new episodes every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just a quick reminder again of how you can support the podcast and stay in the loop. You can sign up for my email list so that way you can be notified every time I post a new podcast episode, make any new announcements about my services, and how you can work with me, and also receive weekly relevant tips for digestion and hormones so you can optimize your health. You can find the link to sign up for my emails in the show notes or head to my website at megangarzawellness.com and you can wait for the pop-up or sign up under the freebies tab. Again, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this week's topic. Take care, everyone, and until next time.